What's going on, you guys? If you haven't already heard, Dan and Dave, who brought us Game of Thrones on HBO, have also been tasked and just announced that they will also be writing and producing, bringing us some new Star Wars films after Game of Thrones finishes in 2019. So we're going to start working on that. We don't know when that's going to hit. There's no estimated timeline right now, but it is interesting now to start thinking about the connections between Game of Thrones and Star Wars. So I figured I would bring to you guys a list of some really notable actors and actresses who have been in both universes. Starting off with Emilia Clarke. Now, I would love the idea of, doing some potential crossover stuff. So once there's enough relationships and enough, actors who've been in both universes, I love the idea that maybe someday, maybe Disney will bring a crossover movie and just kind of like in a what if. I would love for stuff that's not in the canon universe to just have either an alternate universe or just do some what if movies for fun. And I think mixing, a mashup of Game of Thrones and Star Wars would be a really, really fun thing to do. Probably won't ever actually happen. I think the closest we'll ever get is maybe a Saturday Night Live skit where, Emilia Clarke is Kira in Solo, and she's also Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, so maybe they cast her as the mother of falcons and call her Khaleesi or Space Khaleesi or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's my first one, is Emilia Clarke, who is playing Kira in Solo, a Star Wars story, and also as Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones. Next up is another one that's obvious to most, is Gwendoline Christie, who is Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones. And Gwendoline Christie is also widely known to be Captain Phasma, even though you barely got to see any of her. That's Captain Phasma. Now, some lesser known ones, Max von Sydow, who is the three-eyed raven in Game of Thrones, actually is also seen in the beginning of episode 7 as Lor San Tekka. For a lot of us hardcore fans, we're already aware of that, but it's less screen time. He wasn't even a named character in the movie, so you actually had to kind of follow some of the extra stuff to figure out his name. Julian Glover, who played Grand Maester Pycelle in Game of Thrones. Julian Glover was actually General Veers. So now we're going back into the original trilogy, and it's pretty cool when you see people who are, acting even into their old age. Really cool to see. Next, if you probably recognize this one, Thomas Brodie Sangster, who was Jojen Reed in Game of Thrones, is also the First Order officer in episode 7 in the TIE Fighter Bay when they're escaping. You can see him there, although he didn't have an actual credited name, but I'm sure he's got a name by now. Next up is Ian McElhinney, who is Barristan Selmy. Barristan Selmy in Game of Thrones is also played Jan Dodonna, but not in the original movies. Jan Dodonna in Rogue One. If you look closely, you might spot the resemblance. Next up is Keisha Castle-Hughes, who was Obara Sand in Game of Thrones. She was also in Star Wars Episode 3 as the Queen of Naboo, Queen Apollena. So there you go. And speaking of sand snakes, or the sand snakes, I believe they're called, you might recognize Nymeria Sand, who is Jessica Henwick. Actually played as Jess Pava in episode 7. Now, funny little story about Jess Pava. Jess Pava is supposedly someone who survived episode 7 and will actually be back, hopefully. Same thing with Snap Wexley, kind of hoping we get some more people. And that list is probably going to grow. I haven't found everybody who was in episode 8 yet. Of course, hopefully that will be coming out on DVD next month, so DVD, Blu-ray, digital, all those formats. Cannot wait to see that. Also, another round of the giveaway is starting right now, so if you want to enter to win a $20 Cool Stuff gift card for a gaming expansion or small game of your choice, or just put it towards something else like Legion coming out very soon, all good things. Only thing you need to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that, guys. So don't forget, comment, click the little bell for alerts you don't want to miss when I announce a winner, or when any more content comes out. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. Probably going to be getting a lot of announcements between the rest of this month and next month. So a lot of gaming announcements, a lot of Star Wars announcements. There is stuff coming out like crazy. They just announced they're making yet another TV series. So multiple TV series and multiple movies. 3 different sets of movies in the works right now between the Skywalker saga, so episode 9, and they haven't even ruled out if they're going to go past episode 9, although that won't happen immediately. Then Rian Johnson's trilogy, and then Dan and Dave's trilogy, plus at least two new television series that will be apparently available on Disney's streaming service when that goes live. We also have to finish Rebels. Episode 8 comes out on DVD next month, and we're supposed to. And then Solo comes out in like 2-3 more months this summer. It's just kind of blown away. And that's just in Star Wars. Forget everything else. I mean, like, gosh, there's also all kinds of Black Panther comes out. If you like Marvel, there's a whole bunch of that. There's a Venom trailer that dropped today. Didn't even show Venom, so I don't even know what the hell's going on over there. But there's a lot of great movie and stuff news as well. I don't really cover the Marvel stuff as well, but I might be persuaded to if there's enough requests for it. But because there's a whole lot to talk about with Marvel, and I know it might even overload this channel. But most of you guys are here for Star Wars and gaming, and that's pretty much what I cover. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, click the bell for alerts. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like Game of Thrones, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.